Okay, hi guys. So last class we started discussing the provincial paper, the Western Province paper, and did a continuation of that paper. Start doing the second question here. I'll give you 10 minutes. Quickly do this. Let me put the timer as well. Be the Western Province paper, the grade which was happening 2024, the grade 11 third term distress points. Last week we started this paper, continuation of that. Those who are done answering, you can raise your hands up. Okay, once you're done answering. You'll have 3 minutes more. Quick finish it. Those who are done answering, raise your hands up. Yes, Nazar, yes. Okay, your time is up. Let's check your answers. Those are done, raise your hands up. Only three are done. Not many. Was it a hard paper? See. Okay, let's check your answer. One, you may need more time. I gave exactly 10 minutes from the time I started screen sharing. Let's check your answer. Okay, six of them. Okay, let's start. Following spreadsheet shows number of new vehicle registrations in Sri Lanka from the year 2017 to 2022. Okay, so you can see here in this table, starting from 2017 to 2022, they have given you some data. And this is the data about the number of motorcycles that were sold. So motor cars that were sold. These are the number of motorcycles that were sold. So likewise, every vehicle categories they have mentioned here. Up to here, they have mentioned each and every type of vehicle categories. Every year, how many of them were sold here, they have mentioned the count. Then apart from that, if you look at this whole table, spreadsheet, you can see they have mentioned the total in 2017, how many vehicles were registered. In 2018, how many vehicles were registered. Every year, total how many vehicles were registered is mentioned down. And also the number of vehicle types is also mentioned here. Fine, perfect. And here they have talked about some percentage something. We don't have a proper idea unless we go through the questions. Okay. Always when you get a spreadsheet questions, first just go through the table and see what are the data it contains. That will make your answering process comparatively easy. It doesn't mean that you have to understand everything. Now, for example, when I went through this column, these two are not data which I can directly understand. I mean, if I put some efforts, I can understand, but those are not like direct data. But if you look at the remaining ones which are highlighted in yellow color, those are like direct data. Number of motorcycles stored in 2017. Total number of motorcycles stored in, so total number of vehicles registered in 2017. Can I just have a rough idea about what are the data the spreadsheet contain? Okay. Anyways, let's start answering now. In Roman number 1, they have mentioned if the following formula is followed to get the relative percentage of decrease in motor cars registration in the year 2022 compared to year 2017. Okay. So they have given you a formula, it seems, to find the percentage of decrease in motor cars. Percentage of decrease in motor cars when you compare the year 2022 and 2017. Now, this percentage decrease, tell me in this spreadsheet, percentage decrease is there in the column H or column I? In column H, do we have the percentage decrease, or in column I, do we have the percentage decrease? Exactly. You can see in the column I only they have mentioned something called decrease in registration. So basically, that formula given there is something relevant to the column I. Okay. So they are saying you can find the percentage decrease by using this formula, which is you'll find the number of in 2017 the number of motor cars sold registered minus in 2022 the number of motor cars sold, and you divide by that in 2017 total how many motor cars. Sorry, in 2017 how many motor cars are sold, and you multiply that 100. Basically, they have given you a formula on how you can find the answer. Okay. The first question they're asking, what formula should be displayed in the cell I2? Now, if you look at I2, this is the cell I2, right? They're asking what is the formula that should be written in cell I2. If you read the question properly, they are saying, first of all, we have to have the 2017 number of motor cars sold. Okay. So look at this spreadsheet and tell me in which cell address do we have the value or the number contained in 2017, the number of motor cars sold. During the year 2017, the number of motor cars sold, that is there in which cell address? Correct. If you look at the spreadsheet properly, you can see in this B2 cell, we have in 2017, the number of motor cars sold. Okay, that's there in the B2 cell address. So what I'm going to do is instead of mentioning the first value as 2017 motor cars, I'm going to rewrite this as B2. Simple. And now the second thing they have mentioned here is in 2022, the number of motor cars sold. Look at the spreadsheet again and tell me the 2022 number of motor cars registered. That is there in which cell address? Sorry. The 2022 number of cars registered, that's the initial address. Okay, that much clear. Sorry. Yeah. In 2022, the number of cars sold, you can see that is there in the G2 cell address. Okay. So I'm going to replace that with G2. Minus G2. And then 2017 motor cars, earlier we found out it's there in B2 into 100. Keep in mind, the into symbol is star in spreadsheet. Don't go and mention X, it should be star. So this is how you can write the formula to find the value in the I2 cell address. Is this clear, all of you? Rupon, why did you mention H12 then? That's wrong. I wrote, instead of B2, I wrote 2017 motor tricycle. No. Bad. They're talking motor cars, no? So motor cars exactly is there in B2 cell address and G2 cell address. So you use the exact cell address or else no marks there. What if you use percentage symbol? Nope. No need percentage here. Can't we write as B2 to G2? In this question, they have told you how to find the value. See? So when they have told you how to write the value, how to find the value, you have to follow that method. So what I did here simply is I replaced these labels with their respective cell address. So the 2017 motor cars, that count is an B2 cell address. Likewise, just to replace the labels with their respective cell address. Got it? That's wrong. Any other questions that you have there? Can we put the dollar symbol in front of the numerical values, like in front of 100 if I want to like, one thing, dollar symbol is not important here, but if you really want to add dollar symbol, you can't add in front of the row number. If you want to add, you can, if you add, if you add in front of the row number, it's wrong. If you add in front of the column name, it's not wrong. But again, absolute cell reference is unnecessary here. Later. So what, Lukman? They have not told you that this 100 is H12. You're multiplying by 100 to convert that as a percentage, man. Okay, question B. If this formula is copied to I2 to I12 to get, it's already written item, why should they copy back to I2? Okay, it's fine. To get the other vehicle registration percentage, what formula should be entered in cell I8 for the land vehicle tractors? Okay. So they are saying the formula they wrote in I2, the formula we wrote initially for this cell address, no. They are saying the formula we wrote here, we're going to copy it and we're going to paste it for the I2 to I11. I11 means up to here. Yes. Okay. We're going to paste to all these cells. They're going to paste to all these cells. And they are saying after you paste in all these cells, what will be the formula in the I8 cell? They're asking what will be the formula in the I8 cells. Okay. Now, if you look at this scenario here, we are copying the formula from which cell address? In that scenario given, we are copying the formula from its cell address. Correct. We are copying the formula from the I2 cell address. Once you copy from the I2 cell address, we're going to find a formula, right? We're going to find the formula, right? The formula we are going to find that is being pasted onto which cell address? In I2 cell address contains a formula we want to copy. And we're going to find the cell address of like the motor tricycles, right? What do you call the, sorry, land vehicle tractors. Land vehicle tractors we're going to find. Okay. Exactly. That is there in the I8 cell. Okay. So we're going to copy from the I2 cell and we're going to paste it to the I8 cell. We're going to copy it from the I2 cell and we're going to paste it to the I8 cell. Now, when you're going to go from I2 to I8 cell, have we jumped columns? Compare these two cell address and tell me, have we jumped columns? No, we have not. Have we jumped rows? Yes. To go from the row number 2 to row number 8, are we going up or are we going down? To go from row number 2 to row number 8, should you go up or should you go down? Exactly, you have to go down. How many cells you have to jump down? Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have to go 6 cells down. So first of all, when you want to figure out these kind of questions, answers, first of all, figure out how to go from the copying cell to the pasting cell. Now you can see, to go from the copying cell to the pasting cell, we have to just go only 6 cells down, right? Once you figure out this, now what you do is you apply this change. I'm going to call this a change. You apply this change to all the cell address in the formula we are copying. Now, if you read the Roman, if you had gone to the question A, in the question A, the formula we wrote was B2 minus G2. Okay. We wrote B2 minus G2 divide by B2 into 100. Now, once you apply this change for each cell address, let's figure out what's the answer going to be. From the B2 cell, if you go 6 cells down, what is the cell you will reach? From B2 cell, if you go 1 cell down, it's B3. 2 cells down, B4. Likewise, if you go 6 cells down, what cell you have? Correct. If you go 6 cells down, you will have the B8 cell. Similarly, from the G2 cell, if you go 6 cells down, what is the cell you will have? Correct. You have the G8 cell. So what we are doing here is we are replacing all the cell address. Now B2 again is repeating. Okay, we replace all the cell address after you apply this change of going 6 cells down. Once you apply that change, you will notice that this is a formula we are going to get. Always keep in mind, you apply the change only for cell address. That's why you can see in the copying formula and pasting formula, the 100 is there as this. Only the cell address got changed. Is that part clear, all of you? Understood how I got that answer? Yes, Hannah. So here the answer is going to be B8 minus G8 divided by B8 into 100. Useful for whom, Ilma, and why? I think I offed it. Shoot. I can remember like I offed it. Okay, off it now. I don't know. Okay, Roman number 2. If you have any questions, drop in the chat. What formula should be written in cell B12? Why, Ilma, and why? Okay, what formula should be written in cell B12? First of all, let's see, go and see where is B12. B12 is this is B12 cell. So they're asking what formula should be written inside the B12 cell to find the total number of registered vehicles in 2017. Note that the above formula should be in the form of equals function, cell 1 to cell 2, and will be copied to the blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's fine. Now, we want to write a formula to actually find the total. And if you read the question properly, they are saying this formula should include a function as well. Look at the formula properly, you can see they say the formula has to include a function as well. So out of all the functions you all have learned, tell me which function should we use to add values, to find the total of values? Correct. We are used the sum function. Now for this sum function, you want to find the 2017 values now. In which cell range? Cell range is collection of cells. What are the collection of cells we have to add in that case? If I'm going to write the formula inside this B12 cell, which is this cell, tell me what is the range of values I have to add. Yes. In the given spreadsheet, even though values are present only in B2 to B9, keep in your mind, you can't select just B2 to B9. You have to mention the whole thing B2 to B11. If you mention just B2 to B9, that is wrong. There's 2 reasons why it's wrong. I'll tell the first reason. The first reason why if you mention just B2 to B9 is wrong is they have told you they're going to copy this formula for this cell, this cell, this cell, and this cell, and this cell as well. Now, when you copy this formula like that and go, what will happen is here if it's B2 to B11, here it will become D2 to D11. Okay. And here if it was B2 to B9, here it will be D2 to D9. Now in this case, if you take until 9, in this case, it's not only up to 9. In this case, even row number 10 also has a value, row number 11 also has a value. So therefore, the most suitable formula we have to write there is equal sum B2 to B11. So answer for Roman number 2 is actually equal sum B2 to B11. Is that part clear, all of you? Got it? So if you had mentioned just the B9, that is wrong. Okay. Again, if there's any questions, drop in the chat. Next, actually put your marks as well. For the first question, if you got this formula, put 1 mark. Second one, if you got this formula, put 1 mark. Third question, so second question, you got this formula, put 2 marks there. Next, Roman number 3. Not necessary, Zainab. We use dollar symbol if you want something to keep fixed. Okay, only when there's a problem, you go and put the dollar symbol. Now here, by not putting the dollar symbol, there is no issues. Why should we lock this formula? You only lock it when it's a problem. The question has clearly told you not to use dollar symbol. I mean, if you're using dollar symbol, you are use dollar symbol only for the row number columns. Like if you use, this is correct. If you use $B2 to $B11, it's correct. But again, unwanted. Now this is actually correct. Equal sum B2 to B11. This is actually correct, but not compulsory. You only put the dollar symbol when you want something not to change. Can you put in front of 2? No, you can't. The reason you can't is the question has told you that you will be copying this formula for the remaining cells as well. If you put dollar in front of 2 like this, sorry, vice versa. You can put in front of 2, you can't put in front of the column. Sorry, my bad. You can put in front of 2, but you can't put front of the column names. Why you can't put front of the column name is because when you're going to copy this, okay, so this is possible, but this is not. If you put $B2 to $B11, this is wrong. The reason this is wrong is they have told you that we're going to copy this formula from the B12 cell. You'll be copying it to the C12, D12, E12, F12, and G12 cell as well. So when you copy like this for the each and every cells after that, like I told you earlier, okay, when you copy formulas from one cell to another cell address changed, right? So when you copy it from B12 and paste it to C12, D12, all those stuffs, if you put the dollar symbol in front of the column name, what will happen is column name will not change. If the column name doesn't change, your answer is not going to be correct. Why? Because if I paste the formula here, for example, let's say I paste the formula here in the D12 cell. If I paste the formula in D12 cell, I'm expecting the 2019 total. But if I put the dollar symbol in front of the column name, what will happen is, what was B12 there will be B12. Sorry, what was B2 there will be B2 here as well. What was B11 there will be B11 here as well. So technically, if you put the dollar symbol in front of the column name, then here also it will be something like $B2 to $B11. It's actually wrong, right? This is giving you the 2017 answer or the 2019 answer. So you can put in front of 2, but not needed, unnecessary. But this is means compulsory wrong. No? This is anyways wrong. If you put in front of the column name, it's completely wrong. When like writing formulas, we can put the symbol in front of both rows and columns, right? Like both are fine, right? Depends on the situation. Always imagine sometimes the dollar symbol is used to keep something fixed. If you don't want to keep something fixed, then why are you putting dollar symbol? There is no purpose. Simple. It's like, for example, the weather is normal and you're taking the umbrella and going. People think you're stupid. If it's raining and you take umbrella going, fine. If it's hot sun and you're taking umbrella going, also fine. But weather is normal, not even raining, not even sunny. For the namesake, you're holding umbrella and going. There's no purpose. So dollar symbol is put to keep something fixed. So if there is no purpose of keeping something fixed, don't put the dollar symbol. I hope I answered all of your questions. Yeah. So that's the correct answer. In alternative to that, even this is also correct. In alternative to that, this is also correct, but unnecessary. Roman number 3. Yes, Sarah. If the following formula is followed to get the percentage of registration of motor cars in relation to the total number of vehicle registration in year 2022. Okay. So they are saying, they have written here formula chips. And this formula is used to find, this formula is used to get the percentage of registration of motor cars in relation to the total number of vehicles registered in the year 2022. Okay. Now, reading that, tell me, in that question, are they talking about column H or column I? Let me zoom out again. Let me take it properly. Yeah. In the Roman number 3 question, are they referring to the column H or column I when they're talking about the percentage of registration of cars in 2022 in relation to the total? Exactly. There they're talking about column H. Okay. So they're saying you can find that by taking the number of motor cars divided by the total into 100. What should be the formula in cell H2 that can be used up to H3 to H11 to get the vehicle registration percentage? Okay. Now, they have mentioned here total number of vehicles registered in 2022. That is a key thing you have to keep in mind. Now. Based on that, let's first of all, what we'll do is let's replace these labels to the respective cell address. Now, we're going to write this formula inside the H2 cell, which means we're going to write the formula inside this cell. So, when I talk about this cell, in 2022, the number of motor cars registered, that is then which cell address? In 2022, the number of motor cars registered, that is then which cell address? Correct. You can see here, it is there in a G2 cell. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this word called motor cars with the cell address G2. Now we're talking here a word called total, right? When we see the word total here, tell me which cell address you'll take, because there are several totals. Even B12 has total, C12 has total, D12 has total. All the cell has totals. Okay, all the cells in the bottom has total. Which cell should we exactly take? Correct. We should take the G12 cell. The reason G12 cell is because the question has said total in 2022, right? So G2 minus G12. Now there is a problem here. First of all, let me write the formula. G2 divided by G12 into 100. Again, this is not by complete answer. There's a mistake in his answer. Now, if you write this formula in the H2 cell, you will get the answer correctly. But the question did not stop from there. Question, they said that we're going to copy this formula for the remaining vehicles as well, H3 to H11 as well. Now imagine I copy this formula from H2 cell. Okay, imagine I copy this formula from the H2 cell and I paste it to H3 cell. Now when I paste to H3 cell, I will want to find the 2022 percentage, the 2022 registration percentage. Okay, in this green color highlighted one. In there, I will expect to find the 2022 registration of which vehicle? Now in the pink color highlighted one, I'm finding the what do you call registration of motor cars. No. Now if I paste it for the below cell, I'm expecting for which cell to get? What do you think my expectations to get for which vehicle? Exactly. When I copied one cell down, I'm expecting to find for motor tricycle. See, the next row has motor tricycle. Now, let's see what will happen when you copy that formula from H2 and paste to H3. Okay. So when you're going to copy a formula from H2 to H3, what is the change? Are we going up, down, or up one, down one, or up right, or left, right? Or basically, what is the change? When you copy it from this pink color highlighted cell and go to the green color cell, what is the change we are going through? Exactly. There's only one change, which is you're going to go one row down to go from H2 cell to H3 cell. You're just going to go one row down. Simple. Nothing else is happening. Right? So what's going to happen is when you go one row down, even the cell address will go one row down as well. So G2 will become G3, G12 will become G13, 100 will be as it is. Now in the pasting cell, we expected to find the motor tricycles answer. In G3 cell, do we have the number of motor tricycles? In G3 cell, do we have the total number of motor tricycles? Number of motor tricycles. This is G3 cell. Do we have the total motor tricycles? Yes, we have. So that's not a problem. Perfectly working. But in G13 cell, do we have the total number of vehicles? In G13 cell, do we have the total number of vehicles? No, we don't have. Okay. So in that case, tell me, in this formula we wrote initially, is there any cell address where make sure it doesn't change when we are copying it for the other cells? We wrote this initially for motorcycles, motor cars. So when you're copying for other vehicles, okay, we're going to copy it to get other vehicles registrations. No. When copying to get other vehicles registration, is there any cell address that has to be kept fixed? Yes. Which cell address? Is it compulsory to keep G2 fixed, or should we keep G12 fixed, or should we keep both fixed when we are copying for other cells? Yes, the minimum requirement is keeping only G12 cell fixed. So therefore, the formula should not be like this. Instead, the formula has to be, either you can write the formula like this, equals G2 divided by G$12 into 100. Writing this is more than enough. But if you want, you can also write dollar symbol for both. $G, $12. This is also correct. But not necessary. What is necessary is just the dollar symbol in front of the row number. The reason is because when you're copying for other vehicles, no, initially we wrote for motor cars, no. When you're copying it for other vehicles, what's happening is the row number is changing. You can see from G12, it became the G13. Okay. When I copy here G13, if I copy here G14, here G15, I don't want it to change to 12, 13, 14, 15. I don't want that to change. You see, when I copy for other vehicles percentage to find other vehicles percentage, what is the row number is changing. To make sure that row number doesn't change, to make sure I can contain the total number of vehicles, what is important, like what is compulsory is the dollar symbol in front of the row number. But if you want, you can mention dollar symbol in front of both as well. It's fine. But this is what is minimum requirement. So if you wrote this answer, you get correct more. Other is also correct, but this is enough. Is that clear, all of you? Got it? When you're doing cell reference like this, if you use the dollar symbol to keep something fixed, there's a special name for this type of cell referencing. What is it called? If you're going to use dollar symbol, referencing a cell, there's a special name for this. Correct. We call them as absolute cell reference. They're asking a formula that will be displayed in H3. Then why did I found G4? Read the question properly, Hona. They're asking what will be the formula in H3, correct? Okay, they're asking what will be in H3. H3 is my pink color highlighted. But H3, H2. H2 here. They're asking what will be in H2, correct? Okay. To find the percentage in H2, you need the number of motor cars, which is there in G2, and total number of vehicles in 2022, which is there is G11. So G12. I took this cell's value and this cell's value. So G2 divided by G12 into 100. That will give the percentage. See, motor cars divided by total. Got it? Perfect. Anyone having any other questions there? If there's any questions, drop in the chat. So if you got that answer correct, either one of these two answers, either that or this, either one of these answers, you can put 2 marks there. Keep it in mind, without dollar symbol, if you write, your answers are wrong. I'll keep it note. Roman number 4. What formula should be entered in cell B13 to get the number of vehicle types registered in the year 2017? Note that the above formula should be in the form of equals function cell 3, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. In B13, you want to get the 2017 count. In B13, you want to get the 2017 count. Okay. And you want to find the number of cells containing, so you want to find the number of vehicles sold using a function. Okay. Now, from the B2, if you take this, what do you call 2017, the number of different types of vehicles registered is there in a cell ranging from B2 to B11. But do all of the cells in this range have what do you call a value? Even though from B2 to B11 is a cell range containing the different types of vehicles count sold in 2017, sorry, registered in 2017, do all the cells in that range have a value? No. Okay, all the cells does not have a value. I want to find only the cells that contain a value. So what is the function I should do to count the number of cells containing values only? Yes. If you want to count the number of cells containing values only, you are supposed to use a count function. So I'm going to mention here equals count, and we're going to find the 2017 value now. So that's then a cell range of B2 to B11. So answer is equals count B2 to B11. Count A also can be used, right? Not suitable. You will get the correct answer using count A as well, but that's not suitable. Count counts blanks too. Nope. Count will count only the number of cells containing values. Values means things that are measurable. For example, you can measure price. You can measure a number. Okay. But imagine if a cell contains your name. Can you measure a name? For example, can you measure the values mentioned? So can you measure the things mentioned in this cell range? Are these things that can be measured? Which I'm having blue color. Are these things that can be measured? No. So if you use a count function for this cell range, it will give you the answer 0. Why? None of them are values. So count function count the number of cell containing values only. Most when you say values, they are referring numbers. But again, keep in mind, values is not just numbers. Values is anything that can be measured. If something can be measured, it's a value. For example, if a cell contains a date, it's a value. If a cell contains a percentage, it's a value. If a cell contains a number, it's a value. Got it? Anything that can measure. Mostly it's numbers only, but again, keep in mind, as long as it's measurable thing, it's going to count. So if you got that answer there, put 2 marks there. Any other questions anyone have related to the fourth? Will numbers with decimals work? Ask yourself this question. With numbers with decimal, can you measure them? When I give you a packet of flour, when I give you a scale, and I ask you 2.5 grams of flour, you can take, right? You can measure it, right? Simple. Anything that can be measured is a value. Okay, next. Write the most appropriate type of chart available in spreadsheet software from the list of charts given below for the following task. Okay. To compare the differences of all vehicles registered during the period of 2017 to 2022. Okay. If you want to compare the difference between what you called the total number of vehicles, all vehicles registered, mean total vehicles registered from 2017 to 22, like 2017, how many were registered, 2018, how many were registered, 2019, to compare them out of the given charts, what is the most suitable one? What is area chart? Area chart is like the line chart, but colored inside. Like you have the line chart like this, no? The line chart inside, if it's color, it's area chart. Anyways, you want to compare the differences all vehicles registered, which means you're going to compare this red color highlighted cells. Huh? In 2017, how many cars were sold? So in 2017, how many vehicles were sold? 2018, how many vehicles were sold? 2019, how many vehicles were sold? You want to compare those values. What is the most suitable chart? Exactly. The most suitable chart to compare out of all the charts here, the most suitable chart we have is the column chart. Actually, area chart also you can, but area chart is not there in the syllabus. They are not taught you area chart directly. So writing area chart is not suitable. Tell me, using pie chart, can we compare data? No. Using pie chart, you can't compare data. You can visualize data graphically, but comparing data is difficult using pie chart. You can't see variations in pie chart. Visual comparison. If you're going to compare using percentage, are you doing visual comparison? No. You're comparing using numbers. So basically, without comparing percentage, you can directly compare numbers itself. Why do you want to find the percentage? We're talking about when you say the word comparison, the purpose of chart in terms of comparison is a visual comparison. When you look at itself, you can see a variation. So in pie chart, you can't see the variation distinguishably. So it's not suitable. Scatter is unwanted. Why do you want to use scatter here? You have two data here. What is the two data? In 2017, how many of total cars? In 2018, how many total cars? 2019, how many total cars? Just have pair of data. When you have just pairs of data, unwanted to use bar chart. Read the question properly. Can you use bar chart? The question is clearly mentioned, use one of these charts. So obviously you can't put bar chart. So only column chart is more suitable. Again, area chart is fine, but again, not precise because it's not there in the syllabus. Is it possible to use scatter here? Nope. Scatter is something you go for like if you don't have any other options, man. I told you, right? Because it's very difficult to, I mean, it's like when you have the third set of data, four sets of data, like when you have majority of data only, you go for scatter. I'll give weight. Look what I already told. To compare the total number of vehicles registered each year during the period of wait. When they're talking about all vehicles here, are they referring to total? Isn't it comparable? To compare the difference of all vehicles registered. Okay, wait, I'm going to modify my question. Sorry, I misunderstood the question in A. I consider all vehicle as total, but the second question they're talking about total. Okay. To compare the total number of vehicles registered each year during the period from 2017 to 2022. Ah, no, 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 no. I'm correct. If you read that question properly, they are saying to compare the total number of vehicles registered each year from 27 to 19 as a percentage. Out of all the charts given, which chart shows you a difference by percentage? If you're going to compare using percentage, what is the chart we are used there? Correct. If you're going to compare using the percentage, it's a pie chart. Pie chart is not a graphical comparison. It's very hard to, you can, but it's difficult. So normally when you're doing variations of data, comparisons of data, pie chart is not suitable. But here they have mentioned you're going to compare as a percentage. So obviously it's going to be pie chart. If you make a column chart there, put 1 mark here. Mention pie chart here, put 1 mark here. Is that clear all of you? If you have any questions, drop in the chat. Others tell me out of 10 marks, how many marks did you get here? Good. Anyone have any doubts or want to clarify? Why do you need it, Ilman? Tell me then okay, I'll give you a time to pray. And after praying, you can start doing this question. So what's the time now? 54, 5 minutes to pray. And then to do, don't do both the questions. Uh, do only Roman number 1 and 2. I don't think we'll have time to do all three questions. We don't have time to discuss it. Do only these two questions. Roman number 1 and Roman number 2. Do I and I can pray and come and do. So I'll give you 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 6:55, 7:75. At 7:10, I'm going to start. No, 10 minutes is too much for this whole question. 5 minutes. At 7:05, I'm going to start discussing this. Isha, no, this is 2024 batch. Lina, send me the PDF, I'll check it. Yes, Umair. Sir is calm and silent than yesterday. I'm always calm and silent majority of the times. No, I'm actually sick. That's a real reason. But yeah, do this question. Due to independence, have class tomorrow? Yes, yes, I have. Okay, allow the timer as well. So 7:05 can you all have another 9 minutes. Let's put the timer for 9 minutes. Only those both, yeah. I'm giving you time to pray and then those both. If not, we don't have time to do the questions. Most probably no Lamha, but let's see. Okay, y'all do this question. I'll also quickly pray and come. I'm going to put all of your hands down. Once you're done doing the question, raise your hands up. Huh? Okay, sorry on the delay. Once more. How many of you all are done? Raise your hands up. Okay, let's check your answer. Sorry. Yeah, let's check your answers. Consider the following table regarding the validity or invalidity of the mark to be entered. State the algorithm in pseudocode to demonstrate the above functionality. Okay, so they're asking us to write a pseudocode for this. Now, the marks is if the mark is greater than or equal to 0, it's a valid marks. If the marks is less than 0, it's invalid marks. If the marks is less than or equal to 100, it's a valid mark. If the mark is greater than 100, it's a invalid mark. Okay. So basically, how your pseudocode should be something like this. As usual, you start the pseudocode to begin. And for us to check now, here, if you notice here, we're checking the validity of a mark, right? So first of all, you have to get the mark from the user. To write an instruction to ask the user to input the marks, to make sure that we can ask the user to enter the marks, we're going to write this statement called input mark. So I'm write begin, and then I'm going to write this input mark. Now, first of all, I will check certain conditions. I will check, first of all, is the marks greater than 0 and is the marks less than 100. So keep in your mind, you can't, I mean, depends on program language, but when it comes to pseudocode, normally we don't write like this. We can't write if condition with like this. Is marks greater than what you call 100, but is it less than 0? Like this, we don't write one shot. Okay, we don't write one shot like this. Is the marks greater than, sorry, vice versa. Is the marks greater than 0 and is the marks less than 100 kilo? We don't write like this one shot. We have to break it into two different statements. So how you break in two different statements is you're going to write here input mark. I think I don't have enough of space there. Let me just take it to the more left-hand side. Or write it here. It's going to be something like this, begin. We'd ask you to enter the marks. We're going to be like input mark. And what your instruction is going to be is you're going to check if the marks is greater than 0, if mark greater than 0, and there's an operator called the AND operator, which you can use in programming. Okay, so we're going to check if marks is greater than 0 and greater than or equal to 0. Sorry. If it's greater than or equal to 0 and mark is less than or equal to 100. Okay, so here I'm checking is mark greater than or equal. Is it greater than or equal? And if you notice here, I'm checking is a mark less than or equal to 100. Less than or equal. Now tell me if the mark is greater than or equal to 0 and if the mark is less than or equal to 100. In both scenarios, if it's true, is it a valid mark or invalid mark? If both the conditions are true, that means the mark is greater than 0 as well as the marks is less than 100. In that case, is it valid or invalid? Greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 100. In this situation, it's a correct. It's a valid marks. So I'm going to mention if marks is greater than or equal to 0 and marks is less than or equal to 100, then display valid mark. Always keep in mind, if you want to display a text, you mention that text inside inverted comma. If you want to display value of the variable means, you can just mention the variable's name. But if you want to display a text, always mention the text inside inverted comma. It can be single or double inverted commas, that's not a problem, but inside inverted comma. So I'm saying if it's greater and this is also less, it's display invalid mark. Else, display invalid mark. And if and end. So this is how your pseudocode is going to be for this question to demonstrate the above functionality. Is that clear, all of you? Got it? Is it wrong if I write it in words? What do you mean by words? Like less than or equal to, like write in words? No, use operators. To be in a safe side, use operator. You can't exactly tell it's correct or wrong. Because pseudocode, again, like I told you, it's like a recipe. So you have to make sure that your recipe is perfect. But again, there is nothing called wrong recipe. It's the way you understand it, right? Both statements should be true at the same time. Yes. If the marks is greater than equal to 0, then display valid marks and display valid marks. If the marks is less than or equal to 100, no. Okay, some of you all would have written the marks like this. Let me show you the answer. I'll just save this. I'll tell you. I think some of you have written the answer like this. I'll just take one of your answers to the board below. I'm a screen. Yeah. There's a now here what's happening is first of all, you're checking is a marks grade. First of all, you can't use operator like this. There is no operators like this. The operator is like this, huh? Greater than or equal should be like this. Less than or equal should be like this. That's a first mistake, but that's not a big issue. That is not a big problem. But there's another issue. If you're going to check them separately, that is it greater than or equal to 0 separately? Less than or equal to separately? What is the problem that can happen? Any idea, anyone? It won't give a wrong answer, but there's a problem that can happen. Yeah, any idea what's the problem? Okay, let me ask you simply like this. Let's say I entered the number is 80. If my input for mark was the value I entered was 80, tell me what do you think the output of this program is going to give you? Alia, correct. Let's say I input 80 as an input. What is the output? No, something else. I want the exact output. Okay, let's check together with you. When you go and check here, is 80 greater than or equal to 0? True or false? Is 80 greater than or equal to 0? True. So if that is true, tell me what is going to get displayed? Valid is going to get displayed or invalid is going to get displayed? If this condition was true, what's going to get displayed? Correct. The output is going to be valid mark. In terms of output, if you say, it's going to give you valid marks. But once that is done, is the program over? Once you're done with this part, this section, is the program over? No. You're again coming and check, is the marks less than or equal to 100? Now, if you go and check, is 80 less than or equal to 100? Will this condition give you true or false? is 80 less than or equal to 100? True or false? That's also going to give you true. When you go and check is 80 less than or equal to 100, that's also going to give you true. So tell me, in that bottom code, are we going to display valid or are we going to display invalid if that condition is true? We're going to display valid. So what is the problem we have here? At least now tell me what is the problem you can notice here. Two times it is displayed. Exactly. Two times it is displayed. Now here I have used as 80. Imagine I used the input as 120. Imagine the input was 120. But technically tell me is 120 a valid marks or is 120 invalid marks? Based on the table, tell me. Technically 120 is a valid mark or invalid marks? As per the table, 120 is a correct. As per the table, 120 is an invalid mark. Okay. Tell me this part of the program, this if statement, will it give you valid or this if statement will give you invalid? When I'm checking. When I'm checking in the top if statement, it will give you valid or invalid. Exactly. The top if statement is checking is a marks greater than 0. So that is going to give you valid. The bottom if statement, is it going to give you valid or invalid? These are two different if statements. Huh? Both will be checked. The bottom is going to give invalid. So if a program gives both valid and invalid, do you think that's a good program? If the program is going to give two outputs, valid, invalid, both. Is the program working properly? No, the program is not working properly. If you want to mention like this, there's another way you can mention. The best approach is obviously like this. Another approach you have is something like this. If you want to mention them separately, this is how you mention them separately. You mention begin, you mention input mark, then you're going to check like yours if marks is greater than or equal to 0. Then what you do is inside this if condition, you include another if condition like this. If marks is less than or equal to 0, less than or equal to 100, less than or equal to 100, then 100, less than or equal to 100, then display valid mark, else display invalid mark, and if else display invalid mark, and if end. Now what's going to happen is this if condition is going to check if the marks is greater than or equal to 0. If it is not, it's going to display invalid marks and the program ends. This if condition is going to check is the marks greater than or equal to 100. If so, it will display valid marks, else it will display invalid marks. Now in this scenario, will that error happen? If I get 120 as input, will that error happen? What do you think? Will I get two different results if I hit 120? No. Okay. So if you want to mention like that as separate statement, this is how you mention separately. Tell me inside one if condition, if you're going to have another if condition. So here yours the if condition was separate. Huh? See, it was two different standalone if conditions. But if inside one if condition, if you're going to have another if condition, there's a special name for this. What do you call this as? Lukman correct. Aftab correct. Ashifa correct. Lena correct. Yes, we call this as nested if. We call this nested if. Inside one if, you have another if, right? Now tell me, compare my answer, which is, my main answer is left one, or let's say you call answer one and answer two. Compare answer one and answer two and tell me, what do you think is more better, one or two? Correct. One is more better. There are two reasons why one is better. Just tell me the reason why one is better. Why do you think one is better? You can get questions like this also. They can give you two programs and they can ask you, what is the best program and why is it best? Correct. Less number of steps, majority of your tool. Correct. Perfect. Another one more thing. Exactly. Less repetitions. One is less number of steps, second is less repetition. For example, you can see in this program, here also we are displaying invalid marks. Here also we are displaying invalid mark. But if you look at my answer, only once we are displaying invalid mark. So comparatively, one thing is in total number of steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Here 12, here 8. So number of steps are less here and number of repetitions. For example, this word called invalid marks, here it's twice, but here only it's once. So that is why the answer number one is better. Is that clear, all of you? Got it? So if you wrote either one of these two answers, you're correct. But if you wrote this as your answer, it's wrong. Two separate if conditions are wrong. Nested if is correct. Sorry. If you have any other questions, drop in the chat. So that's the answer for the row number one. In terms of marks, you can break it to 6 marks. So how your 6 marks are going to be is begin 1 mark, end is 1 mark, input 1 mark, 1, 2, 3. And if your condition is correct, like this whole thing is correct, one mark, 1 mark, 1 mark. So basically for the whole if condition, it's going, there's 3 marks going. Okay, for the total if condition, you're going 3 marks. But yeah, that's how the marks allocation is. But again, if your program is wrong, they will not give you marks only for begin and end. It depends on who is marking your paper. Now, for example, if you write this program, there's less chances they'll give you marks only for begin, only for marks. Depends on who is marking your paper. Depends on the marking scheme prepared. But again, if you really want a breakdown, you can mark like this. But again, there is very less chance they'll be lenient like that. Huh? Is this a pseudocode question, a selectable question? Like, can we leave it? We can leave it. If it is coming in the part 2 first question, then you can't. With MCQ, you can't. Do you all know in pseudocode, averagely around 18 marks can be tested. Out of these 18 marks, only 10 marks you can skip. There is 8 marks which you can't skip, which can come through MCQ and the P2Q1. So don't be null in programming, because programming is one of the easiest things. So now, for example, if you understood the program question properly, there's nothing complex here. It's all simplified stuffs. Okay, the last question for today. Briefly explain what do you mean by identifier in Pascal program language? Okay. Now in Pascal, wait, before I come to Pascal, is a name used to represent variable constants. Answer. Okay. If you look at this program here, okay, the user is entering a value, right? The user is entering only one value throughout this whole program itself. I am storing that one value under specific name. What is that name? The value the user enters in this program, I'm storing it under specific name. What is the name I'm storing it under? Under which name am I storing it? I did not ask you what is that. Understand my question? Probably my question is, under which name am I storing the value of the user input? Yes, I'm storing the value of the user input under the name called mark. So I can identify this mark. I can identify that value. Okay, I can identify the value the user entered using this name. Now, for example, if I want to display the value user entered, I can say display mark, right? Because why? I'm identifying the value user enters using this name called mark. So basically, if you're going to give like these names to identify values, if you're going to give names to identify values in a program like this, there's a special term we call this mark as a mark is actually a what in this program. It's a if you're going to store a value inside his name, his mark is actually a what in this program. It's going to store a value. Correct. It's a variable. Perfect. It's a variable. Okay. So under the name called mark, I'm storing values. Now in a program, apart from variables, you can have something called constants. Or if you take Pascal, every program you create, in the beginning, you give the name for the program. For the whole program itself, you give a name. Okay. So to identify a program, to identify variables, to identify constants, you have this name, right? This name is what we call as an identifier. I'm identifying the value the user entered using the name called mark. So the answer for this question is going to be something else. What is mean by identify in Pascal? It is a name given. It is the name given to identify variables, constants, or name of the program distinguishably. What I mean by distinguishably means separately. Okay, like for example, imagine a program like this. Imagine we have a program like this, okay? Like begin input num1, comma num2, or input x, comma y. And let's say total is equal to x plus y. Display total. Now in this program, how many values am I getting from the user? From the user, how many values am I getting? Correct. From the user, I'm getting two values. One of the value I'm going to identify as X. The second value the user enters, I'm going to identify it as Y. So every value the user enters, am I able to identify it distinguishably? Yes, Zikra. Yes. I can identify distinguishably, right? Separately. I can identify first value as X, second value as Y. So that's why I use the word called distinguishable. That separately, I can identify first value as X, second value as Y. Okay. So the main part is it's the name to identify variables, constants, and name of the program. Got it? Is that clear, all of you? So how the marks is going to be for that is if you had mentioned this word called name to identify, name, you get 1 mark. Sorry, name to identify. You have to use the word called name, identify. If you have mentioned both the word name plus identify, you get 1 mark. If you had mentioned variable, constants, name of the program, not all three, but at least two of them. Out of the three, at least two, if you had mentioned, 1 mark. Tell me now, out of 8 marks, for Roman number 1, I gave 6 marks. Roman number 2, I gave 2 marks. Out of 8 marks, how many marks am I getting here? Here 6 marks and there are 8 marks. If you have any questions, drop in the chat as well. Okay, good job. So yeah, with that, we're done for the day. If you have any questions, you can stay and ask. Others, you can leave. You're welcome, Kavishani. Hey, week. Actually, I finished the class on Nisha Bangi's thing as well. Really. Okay, so as there's no other questions, I'm going to end the meeting. If there's anything, you can WhatsApp me and get them clarified. Azam, what's the issue in there actually? Yeah, he has a square root session happening this answer, but he told you all not to join. It was like only grade 10 should join. Till 11s and 11.5 not to come kila. Hey, because he wants only grade 10s to be there. Azam, just now I checked your question. Azam, are you referring for the grade? Is this a grade 10 paper then? This is looks like the grade. I don't know. Send me the full PDF, Azam. I'll check later. Which one, Lambu? Oh, yeah, Vinay, bhai. Okay, I'm good in the meeting.